We Saved You a Seat is sponsored by the Oklahoma Family Network. Oklahoma Family Network focuses on supporting families of children and youth with special health care needs and disabilities, as well as families who have children with a mental health or behavioral health diagnosis. Oklahoma Family Network provides families with emotional support, resource navigation, parent-to-parent engagement opportunities, and wants to ensure quality health care for all children and families by building strong and effective family professional partnerships.
Welcome to Toolbox Tuesday. My name is Renee Powell. Tonight, we are very fortunate to have Lora Roberts sharing about Sibshops. Lora Roberts is the Eastern Regional Coordinator with Oklahoma Family Network. Her son, Jeremy, was born with significant medical needs and spent 11 days in the NICU, getting a new diagnosis each day. Then they spent the next year having frequent hospital visits and multiple doctor's appointments. She felt so alone during that time of his life and wanted someone to talk to not feel alone, like she was the only one who had a child with special needs. She then discovered Parent to Parent in Oklahoma and knew that's what she needed to do. Her passion to help the families not feel what she felt. Then, to help them stand on their own feet and advocate for their own child. Lora currently serves on the St. Francis Family Advisory Board. She's a Partners in Policymaking graduate. She is a member of the Member Advisory Task Force for the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority. She visits families who are in the St. Francis NICU and Children's Hospital. She also runs Sibshops for brothers and sisters who have a sibling with special healthcare needs. And she's done this for a decade and counting. And we're so excited to have you share, and I'm going to pass it on to Lora.
Thank you. So I'll start with why I'm enthusiastic about Sibshops. I get to visit family in the Children's Hospital, or, I get referrals all the time from different areas. And one thing I started hearing over and over, and this was back in 2007, is there's nothing for the siblings. So I was providing support for the families, but there was nothing for the siblings. So this just kind of brought it all together. And my son, he's the only child, but he has cousins, and we're a really close family. And I started to notice as my nieces and nephews got in middle school, when we would be out in public, they might be embarrassed about Jeremy. Or they started asking lots of questions, why can't he do this? They were getting curious about it. And it's funny that 4 of his cousins now have grown up and helped me with Sibshops. So I had a mom who mentioned Sibshops, and I had no idea what it was, but I learned it's a nationwide program. It's not something I created. It's not just unique to Oklahoma. They have them in other countries. So I started doing research, and I thought, this would kind of bring in with everything I'm doing. It would just kind of close the circle. So I knew that at that time, TARP, which is now the ARC, they had a sibling group alongside their support group that they did every month. And there was one in Oklahoma City, and it was ran by a Juanita Killingsworth, and she now lives in Georgia. She was my mentor through all of this. So being part of the family advisor at St. Francis, we invited Juanita because they were kind of interested and thought, this would really help the families who have kids in the hospital. So she came to one of our advisories, and she started talking about Sibshops, how she did it, what it is. So this started my conversations with Joni Bruce, who is our executive director with Oklahoma Family Network and St. Francis Children's Hospital. So we partnered together, and we started the Tulsa Sibshops. St. Francis allowed me a room in the conference center, and several of the Child Life, they came, they volunteered, they helped. The hospital foundation helped provide some food. And the Oklahoma Family Network helped me with the supplies and the stipends for the volunteers. Back then, the Oklahoma Disability Law Center, they also gave me a startup fund, but I also applied for a scholarship so I could go be trained. So in the meantime, we started ours, but in order to be an official legit Sibshops, you have to go through their training. And they do that so, everything's done the right way. So I was grateful for this opportunity from what Juanita taught me and reading the book. I started with 2 kids in each age group. That's how slow it was. But because I'm a trained facilitator, I went and I got trained. I'm what they call a first generation Sibshops facilitator. So I can train facilitators to work in my Sibshops. I can't train facilitators to go start their own Sibshops, if that makes sense. There's, some rules about that. And then once you're trained and you start as Sibshops, that's where you will register your Sibshops. And maybe you're just here tonight because you want to learn more about it and you want to enroll your children in one. So my next topic is, what are Sibshops? It's best described as opportunities for brothers and sisters of children with special health, mental health, developmental needs to obtain peer support and education within a recreational context. The siblings are the family member most likely to have the longest relationship with the person who has special needs. Sibshops are lively, pedal to the metal celebrations of the many contributions made by brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters get drugged to therapy, or brothers in the hospital or sisters in the hospital, and mom and dad's away from home and they're with grandparents. So they do tend to feel left out, or, oh, I got to go to therapy again. And so I can't play football, or I can't do this because, a lot of attention has to be on the sibling that has special needs. Not that that's a bad thing. That's just how it is. So Sibshops acknowledge that being the brother and sister is for some a good thing. For others, it's not a good thing. I've heard it all. And for some, it's in between. They reflect that if given a chance, they have much to offer one another. And if you ever get a chance to go observe a Sibshops, you will see that happen. The Sibshops model has information, discussion activities with games. Some do cooking, some do craft activities. Sibshops is not therapy, although the effect may be therapeutic for some children. There's goals with Sibshops, and that's to provide the brothers and sisters special needs an opportunity to meet other siblings in a relaxed recreational setting. And in a minute, I'm going to go through like what a typical Sibshops might be for my group. And you'll kind of see it's just all fun and give them a chance to talk, and they just bond and they connect. It'll give them a chance to discuss common joys and concerns. Some of these kids have concerns, and it bothers them when brother's in the hospital and they can't go see him and they don't know what's going on, or they're at the mall and brother throws a fit and it embarrasses them. It happens. It sometimes embarrasses the families. Sibshops will provide brothers and sisters opportunity to learn how to handle these situations commonly expressed by siblings. And they start talking, and one of the kids will say something. You're like, wow, that is just so enlightening. I would have never thought of that. They will provide siblings an opportunity to learn more about what their brothers and sisters deal with. They will provide the parents and other professionals opportunity to gain experience about the concerns and opportunities frequently experienced by brothers and sisters. I've witnessed that with the kids. And if you buy this book, Chapter 2 is a phenomenal book. It talks about unusual concerns, how you can address them. I read that book cover to cover when I was on my way to take my training. So what is my experience in starting a Sibshops? My Sibshops has been going on for the past 17 years. We started in 2007. What paths did I take to ensure that this would keep going? I mean, that was important to me. It's my passion. I'm really passionate about it. You need determination. It takes some work to get one going and to keep it going. And it can be frustrating because you might see an influx of kids one week or 1 month, and the next month you may just have one or two. You've got to think outside the box, make it fun. We add to the games, we make them wild and crazy. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you got to find a facility. Um, maybe you attend a church and you guys have a gym. A gym is the perfect place because you need a big area so the kids can run around, play the games. It can get loud, very loud. And sometimes the louder it gets, the more fun you're having. So it's nice that there's nothing else going on because you need that quiet. You need that place that they can have fun. You don't want to have to keep saying, okay, you guys, we got to calm down. You got to calm down. You want them to have fun. It's kind of nice if you plan on doing any cooking with the kids that you have a kitchen close by. We don't do any cooking, but I need the fridge because we put stuff in the refrigerator. We normally will order pizza. That's what the kids have always told me they want. We've tried different foods and they're like, where's the pizza? So I just order pizza each time. And then we do a snack building activity. Like we will decorate cookies or we've done ice cream sundaes. And sometimes we turn them to a competition. Okay, who can create the best looking cookie or the craziest cookie or the goofiest cookie? And the kids really get into it. And you will also notice during that time, there's a lot of good conversations going on. That's a good time to start talking to the kids. You always need to overplan for the day because some activities are going to die out quicker. They're going to get bored with that. And then some will keep on going. So once you decide on a place, sometimes that facility might dictate what days you can do it, what times you can have it. So you'll coordinate that with them. We run ours. We start in September. The last couple of years, we started skipping December because everyone has so much going on during that time with the holidays. So we start in September and we end in May. We do 2 age groups. That's how I run mine. So we do 5 to 9-year-olds. They meet one Saturday. And then the next month, the 10 to 14-year-olds will meet. So we alternate the months, but each group gets 4 sibling workshops. We do ours from 1 to 4, the third Saturday of each month between them months. Then you got to look at securing some funding. And again, think outside the box. It's not that hard to do. Maybe you buy a new car and you talk to the people, hey, I want to start this program. This is what it's about. And, sometimes they're happy to give. You can also Walmart, Target, a lot of them you can go get fill out a form and get $25. It's not a lot. But something I did is I announced at my church and I said, hey, if you have any craft supplies that's just sitting around and you want to get rid of them, I would gladly take them. And today I have 3 big tubs of stuff. I throw nothing away. I put it in the tub. And some people from my church would bring me glue sticks, markers. That's really good around August when they start putting school supplies on sale. And then I just asked my friends, hey, when your kid has a birthday party, save me the leftover plates and napkins. I have plates and napkins for years and buy them on sale. The Halloween, excuse my cat, get them after the holidays, like Halloween the day after. Also, Dollar General always has tons of stuff on sale. I'll just go through there time to time and I may pick up 5 packs of stickers for 25 cents. I may not use them for years, but again, I just throw them in my tub and I have all that stuff. Then you need volunteers. You can't do it on your own. You have to have volunteers. If you attend a church, a youth director, anyone who's energetic, they don't have to work or know anything about kids with special needs, but it does help to have a variety. Something I do is when my kids age out at 14, a lot of them will come back and they want to help with the younger group. And then as they keep growing, um, they help out with the older group, and I can then enlist them to be facilitators. Um, I try to have two facilitators per group, and typically you would want to pay them. They get a $50 stipend, but they have a job. I mean, they just don't show up and sit there. They have to plan the day. I expect them to plan the games. Um, I'm always there to bring all the supplies. I take the registration. I make sure we have everything we need. I get the food, the craft items, but I'm always there to help them. Um, if one of them can't make it, of course I'm there and I'm going to fill in. Um, but again, some of your ones that graduate, or if you have a 16-year-old that, it's really too old to attend a sib shops, say, hey, do you want to help with the 5 to 9-year-olds, or do you want to just help? And a lot of times they will. And it's really cool because the younger siblings look up to them because they know, hey, they've been through this. They're on the other side, and they really, really relate to them better than they do any other volunteers. Then you just got to advertise, word of mouth, advertise, get it out, put it on Facebook. And a lot of times it comes from siblings who know siblings that they will come. And don't get discouraged. There's been plenty times that I've had two in a group. Uh, but my thought is the ones who are there, they want to be there and they need it. So we're going to have fun with the ones who are there. They want to be served, and I'm going to serve them. You have to be consistent. It takes a while for the word to spread, to build a group. And hey, you may start one and you have 15 kids at once, depending on where you're at. So, a typical sib shops for us normally would be when the kids arrive, we have pizza. So they come in, they get their pizza, they get something to drink, and they'll sit there and they'll kind of chill before we get started. We start at 1. Then we will do an introduction activity so we can get to know everyone that's there. And it's usually the same group of kids that come, but it's good to share their names and tell us about your sibling. I also make all the volunteers share as well. Even if they don't have a sibling with special needs, I want them to share their name, why they're there. And then you'll find with the younger group that some of them don't always see that their sibling really has special needs. But there's other ways to get them engaged. Then we start playing some energetic games. In the book, there's like pages and pages of games, and you don't have to use that book. Maybe you got a volunteer that had a youth group and they played this really cool game and they say, hey, let's play this. But some of our favorites have been clothespin tag, and these are in the book. They love to play clothespin tag, and clothespins are very inexpensive. About every game you can play, the supplies are super cheap. We do this thing instead of playing snowball fights with paper. I have pandas, and that has just been a fun game all the years I've done it. They're impressed with PJ Panda because it's the children's hospital mascot. The newest game we've had fun playing is fruit basket turnover. I used to play this when I had a youth group, and it's just they pick a fruit and you draw two fruits and they have to exchange seeds. And I mean, you can just snowball and think so far outside of the box, but they love doing that. Then we normally will kind of slow things down and maybe do a craft item, which you will find that's a good time to sit and visit with everyone. Hey, how's it going at home? How's school? And they'll just start visiting, and then all the kids just start talking about what's going on. And someone might say, yeah, my sibling did this week. And they're like, yeah, I know, mine does that too. And so they just bond, they get that socialization. And it just gets them talking. And it's just really good information. And you can just sit back and listen to it. Then throughout the day, you play so many different emotional games where they get a chance to share. Like Feelings on a Rope's a super cheap game. We do the M&M, maybe Superhero. There's an Aunt Blabby. Then there's other books you can buy, like the I just can't even pronounce, the Sibling Slam book. And it's just got different things in there that you can read and you say, hey, how do you feel about this? And they start talking. Um, there's Views in My Shoes, From Our Shoes, then Living with a Brother or Sister with Special Needs. So they're just different books that you can get and throw in some good talking games with them. It's just to get them talking and to share and to open up to others. Then we'll normally do one of our snack buildings. Like I said, we'll decorate cookies, brownies, sometimes cupcakes, sometimes, we'll make ice cream sundaes and we'll just sit around and talk. And again, that's a good opportunity to start getting them to talk. Then they've had all this sugar, so you've got to run all that sugar off. So then we will start doing some more active games. Sometimes one of the kids will say, hey, I played this game. Can we do this? And we'll just incorporate it into the day. And, we're just really flexible and we roll with it. So, what are the benefits? Why would I even want to do this? Well, when a mom calls you and says, thank you, because my child was so excited that there was another family that can't eat gluten, he was beyond excited to know that he wasn't the only one that couldn't have gluten. Or you ask the siblings, hey, do you like hearing the other kids' stories? And one child says yes, because it made me realize I don't have it that bad. I don't have to worry about my sibling being in the hospital. Or this year I experienced for 2 years a sibling that did nothing but run around, didn't want to interact with any of the games. And around Valentine's Day, he come up and he sat there and he shared for the first time in 2 years about what he had to say. It wasn't a good experience, but that's what it's all about. There's the good, the bad, and they're in between. So it's really one of my favorite things to do. And it gives them their day. Like I said, they're sent to, they sometimes have to go to therapy or speech therapy, occupational therapy, or PT with the sibling, or again, their sibling might be in the hospital and they're shuffled back and forth between grandma and grandpa, and they miss the family life. So this is just their day. And Renee also sent you the link to Sooner Success. They house this program, so they can help you with, sometimes they can help you with some startup funds to get started. I am always willing to answer any questions or any suggestions that you might have.
How long is the training course to become a facilitator?
I noticed they've condensed it down. It used to be 2 days
Okay.
because you'd had like one day where you went through the book, and then the next day they would actually bring in kids and you got to see a Sibshops. And I always invite anyone who's wanting to start one, you're welcome to come and observe one of mine anytime you want to. But I noticed they have a virtual option now,
Okay.
so I bet it's not as long.
And you had mentioned having a budget. What would you say a budget to get started would what would a good just a guesstimate?
I would say probably, because if you get facilitators, you want to pay them. But if you're going to be a facilitator and then you get other ones, so maybe $500 to start with. But in the book, there's also different, one of the chapters, and that's what it talks about is um, a budget. And that's really where I got most of my information, to like places you could go to get to seek funding. And usually, if you're in a small town, a lot of places want to help support this effort. So you definitely need partners.
Well, who would be some people that we might be able to partner with in the community if we're trying to get one started?
Doctor's offices. Maybe there's doctors there that see kids with special needs. You know, they could give some if they would. You got to sell the program. Uh, Sometimes churches, and like we do ours at Happy Hands. So Happy Hands doesn't charge me to do it there. So they give me the facility to use. So that saves me money because I don't have to pay somewhere. So I count that as, a donation. Businesses, um, when I bought my new car, I mentioned it to the Kia dealership. I didn't get any money, but I should have with what I paid for the car. But just things like that. People you meet along the way. I've had friends that will just send me $25. And something I didn't mention is I do charge the kids. It's like $25 a year. So it is kind of good. They talk about charging because then they're like more committed to come. But $25 a year for 4 workshops, and they get pizza and they get snacks and then all the supplies. I mean, that's a pretty good deal, especially for feeding kids pizza. And sometimes you can get the food donated. Like sometimes Little Caesars will give me like a free pizza. I'll buy so many and they'll give me a free pizza. And then if you start a sib shops with someone else, like OFN, we help raise money for mine. Um, I know Nancy has one, so there's Creoaks and the Mental Health Association, and OFN kind of does. So everybody kind of contributes to that. It's really not an expensive program to run. I mean,
Because
one time I went to a garage sale and this lady had a huge box of craft supplies. I bought it for $15. I have paper that will last me forever. I have paint, I stickers. I got home and it was like Christmas time. I was excited.
I know that you mentioned that you keep these supplies.
I do.
Do you keep it like in your garage or um
I bought 3 big, huge tubs, locker tubs. And yes, I keep them I have like a little building outside my house. And when I get new stuff, I just put it in there. And then and I bring them it's a lot of tugging them back and forth, but I never know what we're going to need. So I just bring them all. And then if I get new stuff, I just keep adding to it.
how many kids typically attend in the younger group versus the older group?
Well, mine kind of like one year I'll have a whole bunch in the young group
Mhm.
and I won't have as many in the older group. And then the next year, about 5 of the youngers move up. So then you have more in the older group. That's kind of and then you'll get some new ones that come in. Like this year, I had 3 in the younger group that's going to move up to the older group. So my younger group, unless I get more kids in, it's not going to be as many.
Just how many would you say were in your younger group this year and how many were in your older group?
I had 5 in the younger, and then the older, we had about 6.
Okay.
Before COVID, I will tell you, I had anywhere between 12 and 16 kids.
Oh, wow.
But we did have to shut down the 2 years that COVID, was rampant. So that kind of slowed things down.
Gotcha. But still, even with 5 or 6 kids,
Yeah.
that can be a lot of energy.
Yes. It is always energy. That's why you got to over plan. Actually a planning form in the book. So you always over plan because like I said, one game may go 5 minutes and they're done. And then the next game, they may want to play it for an hour. You just never know. So you got to give them chances to burn off the sugar that they eat.
How do you handle if a child just starts, completely kind of having like emotional dysregulation and starts, throwing. Have you had a child that has had kind of a reaction that might not be, that you might have to get, I guess, like, have you had a kid ever like flip over a table or chairs, kind of like just in frustration? How do you handle when you have a tough, a child that's having a tough time of it and might act out just as it wouldn't be that the child was just trying to act out to act out. They're in a setting where they feel like they can share, and then they get kind of angry. How do you diffuse a situation?
A lot of times, take that child to the side and
Okay.
kind of see what's going on. If I have a difficult child that just keeps, usually I will assign a volunteer. That's your kid.
Okay.
You know, get them if you see something happening. And then there has been times I've had to talk to the parents and say, hey, I don't know what's going on, but they seem really angry or really upset about something, and then let the parents handle it.
Have you ever been asked if a parent can attend with their child?
I have, and I should have mentioned that it's really not recommended. And if you ever seen a sib shops, you would see why. Because one time we were in a real good discussion, and this girl had a lot to say. Mom walked in and silent. She just shut down. And it's just that it's not that they're talking bad about what's going on. They really don't want to hurt their mom and dad's feelings. Um, so she just didn't say anything. So I always tell parents, I said, this is your time. You're dropping your sibling off. Go to the mall, go do something. And I have had few that wanted to stay, and I've let them. It's just not a real good experience for the kid. But usually after a while, they're like, oh, okay, so I'm going to go. I have one mom that goes to a movie, one will go shopping. So I just try to offer them other solutions. And always tell the parents, if your kid says anything that's concerning, I'm going to talk to you about it. But if it's just normal, hey, my brother embarrassed me because he came out of his room with his clothes off and my friends were there. That's just typical stuff that happens. I don't discuss that with the parents because I want it to be a safe place for the sibling to be able to share. But if there's concerns, yeah, I talk to the parents.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You had
Good
mentioned that
questions.
it's how that this program is out of Sooner Success. How I guess I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around it because you worked with Oklahoma Family Network and you had your mentor. Um, is your program any different than the one that Sooner Success does?
No, it's still sib shops. It's just
Okay.
I've been doing mine since 2007.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
don't remember what year that they came in and said, hey, we're going to help start sib shops throughout the state. But mine was already going. So that's kind of way. But no, it's the exact same program. It's
Okay.
just we were already doing it.
Okay. Got you. You were the front runner,
Yeah.
trendsetter, we'll say. As a family, I personally think that having the family give a little bit of, just pay like an annual due to attend would be helpful in ensuring that that people
Mm-hmm.
will show up. Have you ever had a family that expressed that they would love to attend, but they couldn't afford $25 a
Oh,
year?
yeah.
Okay.
And if a family says I can afford it,
Mhm.
it's not a big deal. The
Okay.
kids coming, and I actually sometimes I will seek funding to help pay for the stipends. And this year I did get that. So I've got this one family that's been coming for years and they have 3 kids. I said, hey, don't even worry about paying this year.
Mhm.
So, it kind of helps them out. So
Okay, that's good. So no one is turned away.
no,
Um,
no,
okay.
no,
I didn't
no.
think they would be, but
And I think the ones that Nancy does, I don't even think they charge the siblings. And in the book, it recommends that you do charge something because then they're more, it's like they paid for it, so they're going to commit to it.
Yes, you're right, Laura. We don't charge any.
Nancy, would you be okay with sharing a little bit about your sib shop in Tulsa?
Well, I make a partnership with a mental health association for that reason Laura mentions before, because it's more easy make a partnership with other organizations. So that zip shop, it's almost the same. We start, this is the second year we doing, and that is very similar, Laura said. So is another option, another location, another schedule for people who
Um,
want attendance. But most of the times we get families we know that is bilingual, and we have facilitators bilingual too, and everybody is invited for see the zip shops and this location. But I really appreciated all the knowledge Laura shared with us, especially today, because I did the zip shops for 2 years, but I still learning, and Laura is the best.
I
And
would
we've
agree.
actually talked about combining our sip shops since we're both in Tulsa. I don't know if we'll do it, but and actually when one of her facilitators leaves theirs, she comes to mine.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nancy, where do you guys meet? Where do your sib shops meet?
Well, this is a Legacy Plaza, and at 31st and between Sheridan and Yale is the office of the Mental Health Association. So that is more convenient for another people who live close to us. And it's two, no, it's one time every 2 months.
I think it's fantastic that we have two opportunities in the Tulsa area for
Mhm.
siblings of kids with diverse needs and abilities to attend. Especially given that, you know, that you have bilingual facilitators. So there's an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for Spanish speaking families to attend and feel comfortable in their own language.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Right.
So I
Mm-hmm.
thank both of you for the work that you're doing. And Nancy, do you have different age groups, or do you do all the kids together?
We're doing together.
Okay, cool. That's fantastic. Nancy, do you charge like annual dues to attend?
No,
Oh, you said that. I'm sorry.
no, at all.
Um,
The food bank, it's the facilitator of the food
oh, cool.
every zip shop. So that is a great thing we have.
Um,
Sometimes can be vegetables with pasta, or
oh
sometimes
wow.
can be mashed potato with chicken. It's a little bit different every time, but the food bank, it's donate of the food we have in the zip shops.
Oh,
And we provide a little breakfast, like a fruit and granola bars and juice, water, and the lunches for the food bank.
very cool.
Yeah, they serve like really good food. I'm just like, we're pizza. But when I asked the kids, one time we did a nacho bar. Where's the pizza? So, and I
I
always
know.
ask them, do y'all still want to do pizza? What do you want to do? So I do ask them at the end of the year, what would you like to do different? And so I just go by what the kids do want.
Yeah, that is cool. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes most of the kids we attendance to the zip shop is bilingual, so that is Hispanic child. So they usually eat a little some kind difference.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we try to just give them something healthy and at the
Mhm.
same time something different.
Yeah.
But sometimes in the past, we did pizza too.
Well, and that just shows how they're going to be different. What works for one, you got to think
Mm-hmm,
outside of the box for the other one. So just whatever, works best for the families and
mm-hmm.
the siblings. So, and they
Oh,
start theirs at 10, where we don't start till 1.
Yeah.
so you're in the morning, 10.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, here's a question for both of you. Could you tell me like what your favorite games or the favorite things, your favorite aspects of having a sib shop?
You want to start, Laura?
Um, the kids, like one kid I've had since he was 5, and his favorite game is clothespin tag. And all it is, every kid gets 5 clothespins. You got to put it around your shirt or somewhere that can be easily grabbed, and they just run around, and whoever ends up with the most clothespins, then it's over. Um, I just enjoy the kids, just getting to know them and seeing them grow. Like the one kid that I said for 2 years just ran around the room and did nothing. But then this year he opened up. It's like he got it. He got it. He's getting it. So to me, that's the aha moments that I never get tired of.
And
For
we
me, it's a little different, maybe because we have kids with different ages, but I notice the activity they enjoy a lot is make a craft. Every time we did something with craft, they love it. They are amazing thing, and yeah, they love the craft, definitely.
what kinds of crafts have you guys done with the kids that were successful?
I know my older group likes to paint. They just like to create.
Mhm.
We've done vision boards. The younger ones, it's kind of like you get a pre-made craft because they really don't care so much about crafts. Uh, Sometimes it's just a seasonal thing like Easter or Halloween. We might do something for that holiday.
So kind of holiday themed crafts.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh,
They did vision board too,
Mhm.
and they enjoy a lot, and they get amazing craft with their imagination. And the other thing we did, it's we give them um, a, a notebook, and they create something on the first page with a craft, and that is for they take a note every time we attendance to the zip shop, just in case, or maybe when they listen something and the moments we talking with them, they maybe writing something or just drawing or something like that. So I think that is the most important they did.
I think that's really cool that you're giving the
Mm.
kids a chance to journal or record part of their experience there. I think that's an extremely powerful tool. So that sounds awesome.
Is anyone interested in starting a sib shops or just interested in maybe signing your kids up to attend one?
Hey, Laura. I've tried having sib shops for just strictly oncology families. And like our first one was successful, but we ended up having like something for the whole family. Because we found like if we just had but we divided everybody up. Like the
Mhm.
kids in treatment were separated from their siblings, and then the parents
Right.
were in a totally different room and had different stuff going on. anyway, but we just really have not had great success, and we've advertised it in the hospitals and through Child Life and um, just on Facebook and
Sometimes if
stuff.
you
So I don't know what.
sometimes if you do it with like a support group, and then you have the kids who have cancer, and then you provide respite for the other kids, um, or you're providing respite for the ones, it's hard to maintain that because you have to have a lot of volunteers. And that's why I just focus on the siblings. This is their day. I don't want to do a respite. I do know Sooner Success likes to do respite along with Sibshops, but I don't have the manpower. And I want the siblings to say, this is my day. I get to go here and do this. So you might just maybe try doing siblings and
Well,
see.
no, I'm saying like when we did that and advertised it, we didn't have anybody sign up. We had like
Oh,
maybe 2 kids sign up, but they were in this with the same family.
yeah.
So it just, I don't know. We're still kind of trying to figure out what.
Well, 1 month I had 3 brothers,
Hmm.
and we still did Sibshops because it was important to the mom and dad, and they brought them,
Yeah.
so we did it.
Sometimes we get 10 kids and another sip shop just 3 or 5. So yeah, that is like this.
And I created a Facebook page, and I only allow the families who attend the Sibshops to join, or other family partners. And so I post, hey, next Sibshop's coming up, and RSVP. So that kind of keeps the families notified also. And sometimes I'll send out an email to the families as well. Because sometimes they forget they got a lot going on.
Is there a website or a listing place where we could go to find where there are sib shops throughout the state?
Sooner Success, they show the active ones. And then if you go to that sibling support and you register your Sibshops, you can also look at them there. Like if you're from another state, you can go see if there's any in Texas or Missouri. So yeah, Sooner Success does list. There's not very many right now in Oklahoma that I seen. I looked the other day, and I didn't see. I think they do one in Guthrie. It might be for adopted families, but I didn't see any like up in the Enid area, down by Durant. I actually have a family that comes from Springdale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there's not one in their area, and they've been coming for years.
So you have people coming from across state lines. That's pretty
Well, to
amazing.
them, it's like, okay, it's a 45-minute drive, and they kind of have a mama and a daddy day. After it's over with, they'll go shopping, or it's just, their day. So they make the most of it.
No, that's amazing. I am so thankful that you were able to make it tonight and share with us. I've learned a lot. Again, I'm so grateful that you guys came, and Laura, that you shared. It was fantastic.
Thank you for listening to this episode of We Saved You a Seat. Oklahoma Family Network promotes family-centered care and provides tools so families can make informed decisions, advocate for improved services, build connections among families, and serve as a trusted resource in health care of children and young adults. If you would like to become a supporting family or get in touch with another family, please contact Oklahoma Family Network at oklahomafamilynetwork.org or by calling 405-271-5072.